We're going to be testing the performance of 7 Days to Die on CachyOS with benchmarks. We're running at a resolution of 3072 by 1728. VSync's off. I'm running a Ryzen 5950X, an RX 9070 XT, 64 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. We're going to basically test to see how the game works on CachyOS compared to Windows 11. Quality preset is Ultra. As you can see, it's near max quality you can have it. We're going to test this to see how far we can push it. I'm going to see if I have FPS locked, if it even has that option. It looks like it doesn't, so we're gonna leave it as is. We're gonna go into a game and see how this works. Right now, we're in a loading screen. 6%, 3 to 6% CPU usage, 59 degrees Celsius, 4.8 gigahertz for the CPU, 10% GPU usage, 55 degrees Celsius, around 1575, 1.5 gigahertz GPU usage. VRAM is 5.3 gigabytes used at 1.1 gigahertz. RAM is 11.3 gigabytes used. We're sitting at a solid 120 FPS at 8.3 milliseconds for the load screen. Let's see how it looks when I spawn in. We're sitting at 16% CPU usage, roughly 64 degrees Celsius, 4.7 gigahertz CPU usage, 90-ish percent GPU usage, 60 degrees Celsius for the GPU, 3.1 gigahertz for the GPU, 7.7 gigabytes of VRAM, 1.25 gigahertz VRAM. We're using 20.3 gigabytes of system memory. We're sitting at roughly 80 FPS at 14 milliseconds. It bounces around. As you can see, we're just roaming around trying to see how the specs change. That sounds ominous. Oh, that was blurry. Let me see if I can't figure out why there's motion blur. Because that hurt my eyes. See if that works. That's better. As you can see, certain settings make it worse on the eyes, but this is for the most part running well. I have no complaints. As you can see, everything's running smoothly. GPU's maxed out, which that's what you want out of anything. If your CPU gets maxed out, then your graphics card's not powerful enough, or you're running the game in 1080p or lower. I don't see anything wrong, so we're good. Overall, everything looks smooth. Hopefully, you liked seeing the numbers, and they're around what you want. But that's pretty much it. The numbers speak for themselves. I'm testing to see how 7 Days to Die works under Windows 11 compared to CachyOS performance wise. I'm running in 4K 3840 by 2160 full screen FSR3. The presets are balanced. VSync I'm turning off. It should have been off. Let's see what else. Quality is on ultra. So let's see how this works on their Windows. I'm making a new game, so it's going to take a minute. I'm just going to pick a random person. Let's see. Let's go with this person. Just going to make a random game. Test it out. So far, before getting into the actual game, the CPU temp is at 76% roughly for the temperature. 70 to 76 degrees Celsius. CPU is around 5%. GPU temperatures at 57 degrees Celsius. GPU percentage is hovering around 11 to 15%. VRAM's at a little over 6 gigs. RAM is hovering a little over 21 gigs. Raw FPS is 40. It's bouncing around because it's the loading screen. 15 to 110. The on screen is similar, 64 milliseconds of latency, but of course this is a loading screen, which does tend to slow down as it's loading everything in. We'll see how that compares to once I'm in the game. Spawn in random location. Let's see how this changes the numbers. So let's see, it's 80 degrees Celsius, 13% CPU usage, 59 degrees Celsius for GPU. GPU percentage is 99%, so the GPU is fairly maxed out. Uh, 8.7 gigs VRAM, 23.9 gigs of RAM usage, FPS raw. It's bouncing between 126 and 148 FPS. FPS on screen looks like it's about 5 degrees lower than that. I mean, 5 FPS lower than that. Latency's 13 to 22 milliseconds. So all in all, it's not too bad. We'll just have to see if it maintains it. I mean, so far it's running smooth. The numbers are on the screen. I'm seeing that it's running pretty decent with on Windows compared to how it was previously. This is a lot better. I put the GPU and CPU lines together because I wanted to keep the space better vertically. And it helps with the line, so that's why CPU temp and CPU percentage next to each other. GPU temp and GPU percentage are next to each other for the same reason. I might just take out the second CPU part and merge the two into one single line and try to get benchmarks on it where it'll try to show it a little cleaner, but I'm almost where I need to be with the metrics. So if I can show it visually better, that's going to be an improvement. But as you can see, I don't see anything wrong. Oh, crap. But that's where I'm going to leave it here.